The cold dungeons beneath 16th century France were not merely dark, they were suffocating. Hidden away beneath churches, castles, and inquisitional courts, these stone chambers whispered of unimaginable pain. These were not just places of imprisonment, but places where cries died in thick stone silence, and where the most feared of all devices waited in the shadows. Among the gallery of medieval instruments of torture, none was as invasive, secretive, and devastatingly cruel as the Pear of Anguish. It bore no resemblance to a traditional weapon. Shaped like a metal fruit, a pear, with 4 serrated segments, it was inserted into the mouth, rectum, or vagina. Once inside, it bloomed. A turning screw would force the petals of the device outward, ripping apart flesh, tendons, and tissue. No external mark would be left. No blood spilled on the floor. But inside, everything was torn. Women accused of witchcraft, heresy, or even infidelity were the most common victims. In a society ruled by brutal male power structures and religious fanaticism, even a whisper of disobedience could lead to a death sentence. But this device wasn't just about death, it was about obliteration from within. One such woman was Isabeau Laurent, a midwife from the countryside near Toulouse. She was known for her healing skills and her refusal to bow before the local bishop. When children fell ill and her herbal cures failed to save them, the rumors began: witch, poisoner, temptress. One night, hooded inquisitors arrived at her cottage. She was dragged into the stone chamber, blindfolded and bound. When she refused to confess, even under whipping and burning tongs, they turned to the final tool, the pear. She screamed as it was forced into her. And then they turned the screw. Isabeau did not survive. Her insides were torn so violently that even seasoned torturers were left shaken. No confession was ever recorded. No grave ever marked. But the Pear of Anguish remained, warmed again by the fire for the next accused. The Pear of Anguish wasn't merely a tool of punishment, it was a device of control. Unlike public tortures meant to inspire fear through spectacle, the pear operated in secrecy. Hidden from public eyes, it was perfect for silencing dissent, humiliating women, and destroying those who threatened religious or political power. Historians believe its use peaked during the French Wars of Religion, where Catholics and Huguenots Protestants clashed with fanatical violence. Both sides had their own inquisitors. Both sides had secret prisons. And both used the pear. Clerical courts often used the pear on nuns accused of carnal sin or women who challenged doctrine. In some twisted interpretations, pain was considered purifying. A young nun named Marie Claire Dufont, aged only 19, was said to have questioned the confessor's authority after he tried to force himself upon her. Instead of punishing the priest, the abbey branded Marie Claire a heretic. She was taken to a hidden cell beneath the convent. There, the Mother Superior, acting under church orders, watched as the girl was restrained. They used the pear on her. Vaginal insertion, slow expansion. The screams echoed up through the stone floor. She lost consciousness. She never walked again. It was said that afterwards, she was paralyzed from the waist down. She was hidden away in the back corridors of the convent, fed through a slit in the wall. Visitors were told she had taken a vow of silence. By turning the female body into a battlefield, the Pear of Anguish became the symbol of invisible brutality. In later centuries, when Enlightenment thinkers began to question the ethics of torture, devices like the rack or the Iron Maiden were burned, broken, and destroyed. But many pairs of anguish survived. Why? Perhaps because they were small, easy to hide, or perhaps because they were used long after torture was abolished. In 1783, a French executioner named Henri Vallet was rumored to use a pear on condemned prostitutes before public hangings. He believed it cleansed the soul through agony. Though no official records confirm this, several recovered devices from the Paris catacombs match the description and era. Others believe the pear evolved, not in design, but in ideology. Women in asylums, brothels, or prison camps throughout the 19th century were still subjected to internal punishments. The devices may have changed shape, but the violence, the control, and the message stayed the same. Today, a handful of pairs of anguish exist behind glass in museums. Tourists gawk, guides explain, but few truly understand. These were not artifacts of science or culture. They were weapons of silence, forged by fear, and driven into the most sacred parts of a body to destroy not just the flesh, but the identity within. And as the candlelight flickers across the metal petals, one might imagine the final breath of Isabeau Laurent, and the thousands like her. Never marked, never mourned, forever silenced. You've just witnessed one of the darkest punishments in history. But many more still lurk in the shadows. So if you dare, subscribe to Torture Vault, where every scream from the past still echoes.